In this video, we're going to use Python to modify projects. We're going to open a project, modify it, and save it as a new project file. First, let's open up a blank session of QGIS. You'll notice I have no projects open. We're going to go to Plugins, Python Console. Make sure we have the editor open, and we're going to browse to the first file that's found in our Managing Layers and Projects with Python, and the first one is Open Project. We're going to use a Python script to open a pre-existing project. You may have to change the code a little bit to make sure that it points to the right project. The first thing we do is create a project object called QGIS Project Instance. We're creating an instance or instantiating the project so that we can modify it in different ways. The first thing we do is use a QGIS project instance. Then we use that project object to read in the file. The file we're reading in is called streetlightmap.qgz or QGZ. You may have to change this path because right now it looks at my users, Gordon Luckett, my name, desktop, and the exercise files. This is where I unzip the exercise files from the website. So depending on where you extracted, and I recommend putting them on your desktop, put your exercise files there, and then you'll have to modify this path. Once you're clear that this path is correct, go ahead and execute this. So run script. You'll see up above, we've got a brand new project open. It's called streetlight_map. And of course, if you look in your layers, you'll see that it only has one layer, streetlights. In this case, they're city streetlights with various types. So for example, we've got high pressure sodium, induction, and so on. The next thing we're going to do is add a brand new layer to this project. So let's open up another Python script in the same folder. This time we're going to open up load layers Python. That's also in that script directory. This is a little more complex because first we have to get the layer, but you've seen this before. Within the interface, we're going to add a vector layer. And the vector layer is in our exercise files. Again, you may have to change the path because it's looking at my exercise files. And it's going into the same directory, Managing Layers and Projects with Python. And the subdirectory is called Data. And there's a road centerlines.shapefile. And we're going to tack on roads to the end, and it's an OGR data type. So that's what the layer is. Then we have to go to the current renderer or the map and modify the symbols and set the color to black. So we're going to change that layer we add to black color and repaint the screen. So let's run that and see how that works. So sure enough, the layer was added from that shapefile. We changed the color of the symbol to black because you can see the roads are black. If I zoom in, you can see that. And the layer, we triggered a repaint, meaning we told it to manually refresh the screen so you can see that the color is now black. All right, let's do the third part. The third code we're going to run is where we save this existing project that we're working on as a separate file. So let's open up the third PY. This one is save project PY. Now it has two lines in it. The first one, we say project.write. And this project is actually predefined in a previous file. If I were to run this on its own, that project doesn't know what it is. If we go back to open project, you can see that I define project as the current QGIS project instance. I'm actually referring to it in a completely different Python file. But because I'm running them in order and that project is in memory, I can run this. If I didn't, I'd have to take that same line of code right here from the first one, from the open project PY, copy it, paste it in here, so this becomes a standalone Python script. But because I ran it already, I'm actually reusing that project. So we say project, write. I'm putting it directly to my desktop, and I'm going to call it streetlightmap_new. The second line is interesting because it gets the instance of the current project, and I actually could just say project in this case. In fact, if I just type project, we can do that. I don't have to reinstantiate it because there it is above. What that does is actually unloads the current project and makes no projects open in QGIS at this moment. So let's go ahead and try that. So not only did it save that streetlight map new to my desktop, it also says project clear. So if I were to try to open up that project, I go to my desktop, you can see that streetlight map underscore news there, and I can open it up directly. And there it is with the road center lines added and the streetlights and the new name. So with these 3 pieces of code, the opening a project, adding layers, and saving the project, I was able to modify and open and close an existing project within QGIS.